All right, man. What are we doing? Episode 5, right? Am I on 5
Yep.
now? Episode
Yep.
5. What's the racket? Mr. Sean Paul Rogers, how you doing today, man?
Thank you. Hi. Doing okay. Um, just got done playing co-op, and my stupid battery died on me. That
Mm,
was,
lovely.
not good when that
Let's get
happens.
started with you, man. You're a rising star in the co-op world right now, with I think
Well,
a
thank
total
you.
of 3 entries on the leaderboard,
Yep.
right? Including
Three.
our second place run.
Yep. And
And you're
then,
starting to get some of your sets featured in the game,
yeah.
and your name's kind of circulating out there a little bit. So
I've been playing for since probably 2020. And it's a really enjoyable game. One, it's exercise. Uh, Two, it's very challenging whether you're playing by yourself on a solo. And then my favorite is probably playing co-op. You know, I find that also a good way to learn the game is to play with somebody else, especially co-op, because in versus, well, you're competing, but co-op, you can kind of learn the the game and because half of this stuff you don't know until you play with somebody who does know. you know.
yeah, yeah, that can be true. There's still a lot of stuff that's cryptic about the game, so it's not like you can
Yeah,
rip out an instruction manual and read it, right?
right. No, that's true. I guess Discord is a good place to find that stuff, though.
Yeah, there's some
Um,
good stuff out there in the
yeah, yeah.
Discord, for sure. Yeah.
You know, but
Let's go to the basics, man. Tell us day one, how you started playing, how'd you
day
find the game?
one, well, first of all, I love racquetball. I play in real, or I used to in real
You know,
life.
racquetball, you play racket in real life,
Yeah,
racquetball?
and this is like so in tennis you use kind of your arm more to swing. In racquetball you use your wrist. And one thing I like about this game is it's very realistic to a real racquetball. You use your wrist. So it's like a combination of pinball and racquetball is the best way to think about it. um so no, it's a very enjoyable game. you know I'd be curious to know how the pitch session was when they came up with the idea, because it's like, so we got these snakes, and then we're going to have these hexes or these hit points, and we're going to,
Yeah.
it's hard to
Racquetball
describe
meets
to people.
pinball, right?
And, oh yeah, and then we're going to have a tractor beam to control the ball, and then we're going to be avatars that are, would you call those avatars?
Aliens,
Aliens.
because you're in outer space.
Yeah, tech aliens. Yeah. Anyway, so but it's very very enjoyable game, and I don't ever get tired of it. And you gotta be careful. You can actually injure yourself, because I've done that.
Just hit your TV earlier today when we were playing, right? Or last
Oh
night.
yeah, I actually stupid controller. Oh yeah, it flew off of my hand and almost hit my TV. In the end, earlier, the real world. That's the worst thing, is when you go to hit and then the real world comes in and tells you no. So, but
So you've played other racquetball games on the
yeah.
Quest? Yeah.
So there's another one called like Cybrix or something, and it's
Right,
not,
Cyber. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not, the feel doesn't feel right. That's what I am so impressed about this game. If it feels like an extension of your hand, you can feel the actual haptic vibration as you hit the ball. That little
The
bit of
haptic
yeah,
feedback.
yeah, haptic, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's very very good, and I enjoy it very much. And when I first started, I heard they were actually trying to get it into like the Olympics or something like that, um, which I could see that doing something like that.
Yeah, there's a write-up out there from a third party. Forget the name of it. Maybe I can include it in the notes here when I post the
Sure,
video. I
yeah,
think it came from the IRF, which was the International Racquetball Federation.
yeah. And I wonder how they, yeah, I wonder how they got them to endorse it. I guess. I mean, I'd be
Yeah, I
curious.
can. That's actually a good call out. Maybe I can post that in the description of the video. I'll include some data in there for anybody that's
Yeah,
curious.
because I know that esports are, I heard is going to start becoming an Olympic event. But there's a difference between playing a esports like um, um, a video game where you're sitting down and shooting things, and then physically playing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a big difference. This is more like virtual reality. You actually have to be physical.
Yeah, there's a factor about this game that it's attached to your ability in real life too, that will
Yep.
determine your ceiling and how far
What
you can
you know
go.
what, what's funny is I looked into so you can send kids to esports camps now. It's just like and there is an age thing, so I'm thinking, oh, you can get esports, it's like there's no and they said everything I read was like, no, there's still an age thing. Someone who's in their 20s is going to just be quicker with a mouse than
Or
somebody who isn't. And you're like you're already old when you're like 30 years old. But
they actually have colleges and dorms now for if you ever watch an esports game like League of Legends. It's one of my
right,
favorite
right, right. Oh,
spectator.
okay.
They actually send kids to college or some kind of esports training camp.
Yeah, it's a summer camp. I've seen
Like
it.
a
They
dorm
teach,
room or something, and they all just
yeah.
play the games all day.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they teach them how to pace themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
so,
that's a whole thing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is a whole thing. But I've never seen, but those are all like non-physical games, is what so
Yeah,
I
they're controller based.
controller based. They're not,
WASD, ASDF,
yeah.
stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
I would love to play or tennis or something in a real like sized, so you could really run or whatever.
Now,
You
have
know.
you played any tennis games on the Quest?
Yeah, yes.
How do you feel
So
that they stack up to Racket?
uh
I've not played any, so I don't have
no, some are pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, some are pretty good. Some are I it depends on what the game is designed. Sometimes the game is designed towards a younger crowd. And so it's a little bit different in like in baseball, totally baseball is probably one of the best baseball games out there. But then you can go play another baseball, which is clearly more for younger people because they don't allow you to do as much. But
Gotcha.
you know, but this game is probably one of my favorites because there's it's a very interesting concept. And I like to challenge myself. So I like to do the campaigns. So what I suggest to people do when they're first start with the campaign and try to get your first star. That means you get to a certain minimum time. And then get your second stars, then your third stars. And then from there, try to be in the top 100, then go to top 50, top 25. Just these are things to help you progress in the game, gives you motivation to do something too. And then the monthly challenges. Always do the monthly challenges, even if it's only just to do it and get a star, so that when I see you, I can count how many badges you have on your thing, and I can get an idea. All right, they're at least 6 months in, minimum, at least.
Yeah.
Right. So just come in once at least and get your badge. But
So that kind of illustrates your favorite game mode being probably more on the solo side than versus.
yeah, I've always been a very competitive person, but to myself. You know what I'm saying?
And what better way to beat yourself than in a time
Yeah,
trial? Right?
that's it. It's like, yeah, I was, yeah, I was the type of person in sports. Like, I'd feel bad sometimes if I beat the person in something. I just like if they're, I would. I mean, so I would rather play on a team or like you know, just challenging myself. That's just how I
I
am.
think they call that being a good sport.
I guess. Yeah, I remember one time I played soccer in high school and I got on the team and I had really no prior soccer experience. And then another kid didn't get on it. And he had a lot, and I felt bad, because but whatever.
So would you say that you're more of a competitive player or more of a fun factor player? Like when you strap on your
Uh,
headset,
mm,
are you coming to win? Are
mm,
you coming to have fun? Maybe a mixture of both.
a mixture of both. I mean, mostly they have fun, but again, it's like we're always trying to beat whatever our score is or whatnot. You know, to me, a good worthy goal for anybody starting is try to get yourself up into eventually the top 10, so that at least when somebody goes to the campaign or monthly, you'll be at the top or whatever, you know. And so that's just a good goal to kind of have.
So speaking of goals, tell us, share with us what's Sean's major, what's your number one major long-term goal? What do you want to see yourself achieving one day so that you can sit back and say, ah, I did it.
Oh, when I
What
pass
is
away, I want to be my consciousness into the rack.
it?
And I'll no. Uh, well, you set a high standard since you're always on the first one, so that's good to have, you know, somewhere. In fact, a lot of times I'll ask you like, um, because I'll sometimes go, "Wow, how did he get that score? I don't know how he did it, but at least I know it's possible."
Hmm,
So then it makes me go, okay, because if I didn't have someone who was like top, I wouldn't really know what was possible, like in term of time,
right.
like if we're trying
Yeah.
to beat times. In
Like a
fact, I
benchmark.
got an issue with one. I'm going to send it to you where I'm like, I can't figure out how to do this faster. You know, I want to see what you do with it just so I can figure it out. Yeah, but
So
you know.
so you'd like to beat me one day? Is
Oh,
that what I
sure,
take
sure,
away
sure,
from
of course.
that?
I'll feel, but just know I'll feel bad about it if I
Well,
do.
I'll tell you what, man. If you keep at the rate that you've been
Um,
going, it's possible, man.
well, you know,
It takes time.
I
You're on
think
the
we
right
only
track.
I remember like you were helping me, you know, and listen, even if you show me that this is how you did it, that's not real. That's good, but you still have to execute it. It's like,
Right.
you know, saying like I remember 1 month at the beginning, you showed me what you did, and I knew exactly what to do, but I couldn't execute it, and so it still matters. And then I think one time you were, I got, I think point tenth of a second under you or something, and that's when you're like, okay, now that you're getting up there, I'm not going to be able to help you out. I'm like, okay,
I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. That was back before we started making a lot of
yeah,
car runs together. I
and that was
remember.
fine. And then I said, like, so for me, my way of thinking is like a good hint to help is like if I know how many swings you did in one wave and about where the time is, then I still have to figure it out. And because for people who don't know, about a second it takes for, you know, a swing return. So if you miss two swings on a particular wave, you know you can shave off 2 seconds at least, you know, if when you're trying to go back and improve your time and stuff, you know. But we're
I
serious.
think,
We record our videos and go back and go like, oh, could have got that, could miss
yeah,
that, yeah, that. Well, that's 3 seconds there. It's like,
I
you
think
know,
I remember you were asking me for some advice on something, and I was kind of giving you some tips on how to make it better, but still leave you hanging a little bit to try and
right,
help
right,
improve yourself.
right.
And I think what happened was it was like a day or two later. I looked at the leaderboard, and you were
And
like a
I was
second
ahead, I
behind
think.
me.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
I
"Get
think I
out of
was
here,
ahead.
dude!
Then
You,
you
you came
came
you
and
came
then
knocking on
back.
my door again," and I
Yeah,
was like, "Get out of here, dude!
it was
You
like
don't need
point
help."
one. I think it was
Yeah,
my set. It was my set that my first set, maybe I think. I
I don't
didn't do that
remember
one.
what set it
But
was. Yeah,
anyway,
it was a while.
yeah, and I was like, and then you're like, okay, now that you're
Yeah, I was
getting
like, "Get
top
out of
10.
here,
I was
dude!
like,
You don't
okay.
need my help. You're good enough." Yeah,
No,
yeah. That was
it's
funny. I
fine.
remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah,
I
I
had
was like,
forgotten about
damn.
that for a while
Yeah,
too.
you gave me a shout out on Discord.
Yeah,
Almost, almost, but not quite. It's like that was
I
funny.
think because I think for that particular month, I can't remember. I think my son was sick or something that month.
Um, so you
Didn't have.
weren't playing a lot. You
I
like
didn't.
left
I
the
didn't.
leaderboard,
Yeah, I
then
didn't
came
have a
back.
lot of time to grind it out.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I saw you had came close to
yeah.
me, so I
No,
was
I
like,
think I had gotten into first, and you came and took me out.
okay, yeah, I don't
But
remember.
that was it because
Possible.
it was like I was thinking, oh wow, I might actually get this, and then all of a sudden you come in, you like beat
Yeah,
me by one.
yeah, that was a
Or-
funny one. That was
yeah, yeah,
sometime last year, I think.
yeah. Yeah. I've probably been doing the monthlies when I did that. Well, I also tell people to work in the editor because that's a great way to learn how the game operates. Um, when you're doing a set and you're just playing it, and sometimes you'll say to yourself, "Oh man, I wish there was this thing I could bounce off," or "I wish this thing wasn't there." You can go in and create that and figure out how it works.
So
So
given everything that we see from you and your progression and where you're at on the leaderboards, tell us a little bit about how often do you practice, or do you practice at all?
sometimes, yesterday I was practicing. There's what we call the death waves, which are there's probably, what do you say, about five of them at least, of like,
Probably about three major ones. You're
well,
talking about
yeah.
co-op. You're talking about co-op runs.
Yeah, co-ops. Yeah, right. Because or yeah, and solos, whatever, I guess. But so made a copy of what that was, and I was practicing it the other day, just which way would be the best way to complete this.
So you'll actually manually go out and you'll work on your
Yeah,
areas where you need improvement.
yeah, especially if it's a particular a wave, just recreate it and then practice it. And then what you do is you set up all the power-ups before you start the wave, just so you can choose what you want to. Okay, let me try it once with this, let me try it once with that, or gives you different options. And that's just for like practicing you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
Otherwise it's just playing over and over. I think doing the campaigns is the best way to really get good at it too, because it's as if it's kind of like the monthly challenge, only you get to do it forever. It stays and you can keep improving, and you just get better at it, I guess. Especially when you focus on one wave. So like I said, what I do is I focus on this set, get it down, get to, whatever I'm trying to get, top, whatever, and then I move on. So I may be sometimes stuck on that particular game or set for like a week, just playing that one thing. And that's how you kind of get good at it, and then you recognize well, we now know. In fact, I've gotten good enough where I'm like, I can see one side and already know what's behind me because I'm so used to playing it. Like, oh, I know. Well, I'll go like, oh, I know this is a fast one. We got to do this. We got to do that before we
Yeah,
even.
memorization. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get used to the waves. So I
So
always feel
I
like I'm a
know
little
you
bossy when
are
I.
you're a man of ideas. That's no secret, given
Okay.
all the most recent sets you had published. Um, this is a fun one. I always like to ask this question. Tell me or tell us what what are some of the things that you would like to see changed about the game? Let's start there. So some realistic
All
things
right. Okay.
I'd like to
Realistic.
see. Maybe the game could be
First of
improved.
all, let me just say
Updated.
I really enjoy the game so much. So when I bring up what I think is a good idea or improvement or something cool, it's because I like the game. It's not because it's lacking. Okay, I just want to be clear about that. There's a big difference. Oh, it'll be better. It would only be good if we had this and then. No. It's just like it. I don't waste my time. In other words, if so, when I suggest something, I just think it would be cool and be something that would improve or make the game more outstanding. Now, first of all, we need to change the since we're talking about eventually going into the Olympics, I guess it's called gold, silver, and bronze,
Ah,
first, second, and third. It just it bugs me because
yeah, yeah.
when you're in third place, that's a silver. There's no incentive to get into second place. So just change that: gold, silver, bronze, and then fourth through 10th can be whatever, platinum, whatever you
It's
want.
been a talking point for a very long
I
time.
know. But I'm just saying if we're doing the Olympics anyway. So with that
But
said,
not even if weren't doing the Olympics, that from a
yeah,
solo
yeah, right.
perspective in
Yeah.
the monthly challenge you're talking about, that
Yeah, because what I do is I can, if I look at somebody's chest, all their medals, if you're a bunch of silvers, I don't really know. Are you a second or a third place type person? If somebody has all gold, they're first. But second and third, we need to distinguish between the number one loser and the second place loser. As I always say, yeah, number one loser, second place loser. But that's just that's just a little thing here.
Now you have a lot of top 10 finishes under your belt, right?
Right. So I got a lot of bronze, but you know, I don't
Mm,
know. I wonder if that'd be an easy fix. Could you just go in there and say, okay, everyone who was in second place or third place, I mean, everyone who was in third place, you would change their badge out, and then anyone who was fourth or tenth, you change. I don't know how hard. I'm not a
mm.
computer developer or
It'd
anything.
be an effort either way. It'd be an effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think like so, I like me, I like power ups. I do like power ups. Yeah, I always do power ups.
No
I think
secret. Like
uh
power-ups.
when there should be a power up where it's multi-ball. I think that would be something kind of cool. Because it is kind of a pinball racquetball combination. The game is, and one of the things in pinball is multi-ball, so if you had a power up that turned, so you had two or three balls going at once, at least for a certain amount of time, just like you do in a pinball.
Imagine that. That'd be
Yeah,
chaos.
and you'd also want to be able to. I'd want to have both rackets available, so literally you could go like this, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a fun addition to it. And I got that kind of idea from playing another game that goes into multi-ball. You could even do a whole game that way if you wanted to. I
Like
just,
a game mode or
oh
something.
yeah, game mode where it's multi-ball. I also think it'd be kind of cool if we could get fours people in a multiplayer and be in each corner. I don't know,
You mean
my
co-op? You mean
yeah,
co-op?
co-op in a co-op. Or yeah, or even versus two versus two, just like in tennis, something like that. I'm
You know,
just curious.
I have not heard that one yet. That'd be
Yeah,
pretty
yeah. In
good.
tennis, you both, you have
Like doubles?
doubles. Yes, basically. I mean,
That would
I
be a
think
pretty
you could do it. Even if I even thought like even if they came up with a sequel like NX Pro. I don't know.
I like that.
Uh,
I'll bump that idea. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
not heard
It's
that one yet.
because
That's
you may need to make the whole universe a little bit bigger, maybe if you're doing four. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it would be.
that'd be a large effort to release something like that, but that's a clever idea.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then, or even I even said have a power up where when you hit it, you get to I don't know either you get like a free go back we're back in time 10 seconds or
Instant replay,
take
a
yeah take
redo.
back because you know how like you'll hit it and before you even hit the ball you already know it's a bad hit and you're like I as you see the ball going to the death or down or hitting the red guys you say man I really wish I could take that back and if there was a way to like activate in reverse that would be kind of a cool little feature of that. Just and also when you're going really fast with the boosters, it'd be nice to have an opposite one as well. What would you call it? A decelerator. So everything's going fast,
It
especially
slows it down.
yeah, and everything slows that down because when you're in the higher levels over 150,000, that'll just be able to slow it down to like what normal it is at the beginning, let's say.
You're talking about co-op though.
And anything, it doesn't matter. If I'm
Well,
at a
no,
hundred.
because in campaign you don't have.
No. I mean
You're
co-op, but
talking
I mean
arcade or co-op.
solo or co-op is what I mean. Like so, because when you're going, it'd be nice to be like you're you're basically deflecting when you're at 150 plus. It's like you're
Yeah,
doing this
it's a defense.
Wonder Woman things, and then and
Yeah.
it'd be nice to slow it down. Like whew, we can. So that might be an idea. Um, mm, yeah. I'm trying to think. There was something else that I wanted to say. Oh, sometimes being able to see maybe what the next level would be, wave. That might be kind of cool. Look at,
Next
I don't know.
wave in. You
Wave,
mean
yeah.
co-op, monthly or
Yeah,
both?
anyone.
Yeah, I don't. You can't do that in a
Yeah,
monthly. Maybe co-op would be the
not
right.
monthly, but in yeah, but in solo, right? If you're
Yeah.
going really fast. I mean, right now, one suggestion I tell people is if you're going super fast, I sometimes pause the game right when I finish it just to take a look around, see what's going on, and then
Pro tip: if you're out there listening, that's a pro.
yeah, and then start up because last thing you want to do is like hit it and there's you got the wrecking balls you hit and there's a bunch of reds that pop up all of a sudden and you've already hit the wrecking ball or something. It's like
It's really dangerous pausing the game over 200K. It's basically death if you do that.
Really? Is it because it's starting back up? Is kind of
Well, the problem is when you unpause the game in co-op and you're operating at max ball speed, when you unpause the game, you don't get access to the tractor beam immediately.
oh,
The ball sits at gravity for X amount of time,
oh
and
yeah,
in that time, if the ball, because you can't control it, so if the ball hits a skull,
yeah.
lights out.
I also think we should get bonuses for clearing the whole thing. That would be an incentive. So, I mean, even the reds. So, if you clear the whole wave, so if there's reds, even you have to figure out, well, okay, there's these reds over here. We got some blues. So, how do we clear it to get, we got to get rid of the reds. You have to figure a way to do it, and it would just give an incentive to try to clear everything on the wave. Like if it were like I don't know 5,000 points or something, like to get everything. It's just
A
an
bad idea. It would
yeah,
increase your game time by probably about
right,
an hour.
right. And some of the benefits of trying to get everything, like every what are they? Is it boosters or pluses or what are they, you call them? What?
The official name for the blue pluses are boosters,
Okay, boosters, right? I call
but
it
you can
medicine.
just call it blues. That's what we all say.
I call it medicine because I need medicine when I start hearing my heart go and I'm like, get us medicine. But you know, so by clearing everything, you could get like, I don't know, whatever, extra points. It forces you, oh, what I was originally saying was by getting every booster or whatever, it actually gets you better at the game because every time you make a swing for something you want, it's a skill set. And my joke is this: I'd be really good at the game if I hit everything I intended to hit.
Yep.
I would be awesome. So my point is what we're trying to do is to make that more accurate so that as you go along, you get more and more of the hits that you intended to hit.
If your execution
Yeah,
matched
yeah,
your
yeah.
knowledge,
Oh yeah, like I could go. It's like I always joke it. Like you're like, oh, just do this. You hit over that, and yeah, but I still gotta do it. Just because I know, yeah, I know we gotta go this way. We got,
yeah,
and a lot of people don't use both hands. I'll use both hands sometimes. I wonder what other people do if they use both hands. Some people don't even have the other. They don't even keep the controller on them. Though, like if
yeah. I
they're
don't, I
right,
don't, I don't do it. I,
so
I play right-handed only.
we should do a lefty challenge, you and me, and see what we get.
I think that isn't that an achievement that you can earn, like playing with
Yeah, I think
the
it was.
upstand or the backhand or something. I think there was a
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a backhand one.
yeah.
And then the hardest one that was probably where you couldn't do power shots. You had to hit it like flat tires. That was kind of hard.
Oh, the non-supercharged one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there was one which I think would be a cool feature, where you had to do the whole thing where you couldn't use the tractor beam.
That
So
was
I
a
think
fun
that would
one. I
be
remember that. That was fun.
there'd be one. I think it'd be cool to have like a because you could say, okay, let's play the game and not use our tractor, but it's impossible because we're so used to using it. So you'd have to have a way to turn that aspect off to play the game without using tractor as a separate kind of skill game. Because it
Right.
wouldn't, I mean, it makes it a different game if you're just going off of, what happens, bouncing and all that stuff. Might shake out the true masters if we got rid of that. I don't know. You know.
It's challenging to play without a tractor beam. The waves are designed for you to progress through them in a certain way, and the tractor beam
Well,
takes the tractor beam away, kind of deters.
yeah, so yeah, if you have to hit something up there and yeah, I mean, I'd be curious. You know what? I should try playing one just see if I can not use my trigger, but see how that works. Be curious to know. Yeah,
Record it and post the video. Let us see it.
yeah,
If anything, it'll be an interesting watch. That's for sure.
yeah. That's for sure. That'd be interesting. Um, what is it that you? What is it you? What do you like about the most about it? Now I'm interviewing you, but just curious.
The interviewer becomes the interviewee.
Yeah.
About the game or
Yeah,
like
what's your
combo?
favorite thing about? Do you like designing it the most, or do you like, or do you like playing? I guess I like designing them and stuff too. So
Designing them's fun. Yeah, there's separate aspects to it that offer different. Like the business model is different between it all. Developing is a lot of fun. As you know, I have a lot of sets that kind of get posted out there for the monthlies,
yeah.
and it's no secret I like to design. So
Do do they get a do they get a lot of submissions? Because first of all, oh, you know when you play a set and it says vote, does
yeah,
that really do anything? Vote? Does that?
I'm not sure. I don't. That'd be a question for the developers. I don't
I
know
mean,
if
because I always click it no matter what. I mean, granted,
I.
if it keeps, it should be probably only one vote where you vote and that's it, because you can vote every
You just sit
time.
there and smash the
Yeah,
button.
every time. Yeah, but I don't know if there is a place. Is there an algorithm where when someone pushes that vote, where we could see what the most popular sets were? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I can tell you that there's nothing natively in the game that tells us that that voting button does something.
Right. Oh, and
Yeah,
that's another thing. It'd be cool if you could look up people's sets by their like username.
yeah, that's been a popular request,
Yeah.
like follow your
Um,
favorite developers type of a deal.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a popular one too. I think the other one out there for the level editor that's been asked a lot is to be able to set favorites.
Sure, that makes sense. Oh, and that's another thing I was thinking. It'd be cool if we could maybe I don't know if you publish it privately, but where like you and me, for example, can work on a set.
Oh,
You know,
collaboration. Yeah,
yeah,
collaboration.
collaboration or three
Yeah,
people,
I
however wants to add.
I
Okay, I'll do
recommended
this.
that. That's a big one. I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, all you would have is just. I mean, granted, it's stored on your local drive, right?
Yeah, well,
So you just sync it up.
whoever the person is that created the set,
It's on there.
it'll be saved on their headset. You're just
But
there.
if all you'd have to do is sync up the data file.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
I
about the
mean,
back end logic. I'm just
because
saying,
like right now, if
I
I
just
go on
want
to
to bring
side
you in.
quest,
That's all.
I can pull my data. I can pull because I had to do this when I got my files got corrupted. I can send you my set right now. I just give you the data file. You just put it right
Right.
into your, and then
Yeah.
you would have it. I mean, it would. So you could do it technically. It's just we'd have to, send the file and send the file.
Yeah,
But
I'm not even really worried about that. I just want to be able to pull somebody into the set that I have and collaborate with them, and just you just store it on my headset.
so
That'd be it.
what would be cool is then the way we do have the I mean not the multi, the way we do the co-op. It'd be cool if we're both sitting there or standing there, whatever, and doing it like
Yeah.
the way we play the game.
The collaboration is really nice because you can get mixed ideas from multiple
Hmm.
minds, and then
Yep.
at the end it creates
Oh,
one
it's
really
good if
nice.
you add this or it's try.
Yeah,
No, it's true. You always do better when you do that.
nice to have a second pair of eyes.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, I remember I think it was it this month or last month? I was telling you you developed something in your set you didn't even know you put it there,
Right, right,
right? And you were explaining to me how this one wave should be completed, and then when I ran through it, I kind of told you I was like, "Yo, did you know that you even did this?"
right. And now I know what that
Yeah, like
is.
the accidents are definitely a real thing. You can create things by accident that you don't
Oh
even know.
yeah, you know, like in DJing, I don't know much about DJing, but in DJing, sometimes when a DJ finds himself, oh shoot, I'm stuck in this. How do I get out of it? Part of the getting out of something is the creativity of how he moves into his next song. So sometimes mistakes, are the way to create to get out of that mistake, if you will. Anyway, I don't know if that's a good example, but you know, uh,
Good enough.
so I know.
So from a gameplay perspective, um, what else? I think
I'm trying
yeah,
because I'm going to think afterwards. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should have mentioned this.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Open it up one more time from a gameplay perspective before we move on, if you want.
Yeah. Um, trying to think if
I
there's.
think that was most of the things that
Yeah,
you.
I think it is. I know. I'm sure I'll remember something about, but yeah. So hopefully, do they up? They don't update anymore, or do they implement? I mean, what was the last thing they did that was improvement other than bugs or whatever? But
Um, Off the top of my head, I think I think the homeboy Boof, shout out to Boof if you're out there. I think he went out there and went on a recent bug killing session.
Okay.
I think he
No.
got rid of some bugs that made gameplay pretty smooth. The best one that I can remember so far, I mean, they're all the updates are great, but the most relevant one I think was the FPS update. And the FPS update for the quests,
Frames per second.
out of this world, man.
So
Yeah,
when was that? When was that?
it was recent. It was, I think it was within the last 3 months. You can
So
check the time
what?
stamp on the
So
Discord.
what did they change, or they just made it so that there was more frames per second, or
So previously, the way the game worked on a quest, if you were using a Q1 or a Q2 or even a Q3, which is what I have,
right? That's what I'm using.
uh, Racket Quest doesn't like Racket a whole lot. The gameplay was really choppy, native
Right.
too. So brand
Right.
new Quest 3 out of the box, no customized settings, all the updated hardware. RNX was still incredibly choppy,
Okay.
uh, particularly in the worst area possible when the ball is kind of coming back to you on the tractor beam. The transition as it moves back to you, the animations, it wasn't smooth. The ball would kind of chop,
Oh.
right? And you get used to it and you play with it over the years and you're still able to achieve
What?
milestones under those conditions, but the FPS update makes it so that it's one smooth kind of animation as the ball moves around. And I'm able to, myself and other players I've talked to, I know even yourself, it kind of improves your accuracy a little bit. And
Well, of
that was
course
the
it does.
biggest thing that this game was missing on the quests to make it at least more enjoyable for me anyway,
Hmm.
was that FPS update.
So what about, like, I've done it where I've done a, what do you call it, like a Air Link or Q Link, whatever you want to call it, where I'm to a PC, technically running it off of, I guess you would consider the Rift.
Still didn't
Uh,
work. I tried it too.
yeah,
It still didn't
and
work. No,
in fact, it was
hard.
actually more off for me. I was like, it was like weird,
It is.
um,
So what would happen there is your trajectory would be off.
way off. Like I'd be
Way
like,
off. Way off. It
I
wasn't
thought
even.
that was interesting because I'm going, why is that? Because you would think it. But now, have you ever played on a PC, like using a, what do you call it, like a Vive or something like that?
So I played it. The first time I ever played this game was on a Rift S. And if you've ever played this game on a Rift S, PC VR plugged into any kind of decent
Right.
PC with a video
Yeah.
card,
So that's, I mean, I played that
the game is
before.
phenomenal.
Oh yeah, the graphics, they're like,
It's beautiful. Now that was the first time I ever played it. So if you play on a Rift S, and then you have a little bit of gameplay there, and then you immediately move over to a quest, the whole entire experience becomes so much
right,
worse instantly, and you can see it.
right.
It's night and day. It's not even
Now the
close.
Rift S was that was
An
wired
older
though, right?
headset. The Rift S is an older headset.
Yeah, and but it was wired.
Yeah, it's PC VR, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do have like I have the Vive, it's called Cosmos Elite, and it does have a wireless adapter, but because it does suck to have the wire. It just does. Um, you have these things where you can put the wire up on your
You
ceiling
can
and it
get pretty
hangs.
you can get pretty slick with it nowadays.
Yeah,
And they even have wires that are super long so you can even move around
yeah,
a little bit. But it's
yeah.
it's
But
solid.
but the Quest I use the most because it's so easy.
Yeah.
You just, I mean,
So the
eventually it'll probably, improve even more. I'm, I don't know about you, but it bugs me that when we record our videos, the stupid Guardian comes up now. It didn't do that
Yeah,
in
that's a
Quest 2.
Quest thing though. That's not Racket.
I know.
Yeah.
I wonder if I wonder if anyone's said anything. I have to talk to Oculus. Excuse me. Can you fix this?
I don't know.
You know.
But the most recent update that I think is out there is the FPS update. Behind that is
So what
Boof's
did they do
most
to update?
recent
Did they
attempt.
just improve the amount of frames per second, or how? What did they do exactly?
Yeah, yeah. So natively, when the Quest 3 requests, when a game requests 120 hertz from a game, it'll do it natively. So if you notice on the Quest 3,
Do you
there,
have yours set to 120?
there's no option in the Quest
No,
3 to even
what
do it.
Quest 3 there is.
It'll just do it.
Oh, it'll just do it. Oh,
Yeah,
because it
it'll
used
just
to
do
be
it
you had to
native.
set it. It was
Yeah,
72, and then
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
set
yeah.
it to 90,
You have to
and then
set
they
it.
had the beta or the advanced where you could do 120. And they always say, but most war may have performance
I
experience.
think if you turn on developer mode in the Q3, you
Yeah,
make it a toggle, but it natively the Q3
it
will
does
do
120.
if the
Oh,
game requests it.
And does
Problem
Racket
was
request it?
Racket didn't know how to leverage the new hardware on the Q3.
Mm.
So I forget who it was that put the update out. I can't remember. It might have been Matan. I forget who it was. Somebody put out the update, and it was a small update. It wasn't even large. Instantaneously, the day I downloaded it, the game was incredibly smooth.
Right.
And that's really no joke. It made all things possible in the game.
huh.
So
I
that was the
wish I.
most recent one, which was a great one. Behind that was Booth's attempt to kill all the bugs. And then behind that, they kind of get few and far between. So
Yeah, yeah. No, it's right. I would like to see. Well, I think it's funny how on these achievements when you get the crown, the wizard, the gunslinger. These are
oh,
achievements you get
the
to where, and then
av- decals, the
and then out
avatar decals.
randomness. It's like, we got three, a king, wizard, and gunslinger. Let's have a rooster. Yeah, we'll put a rooster in. It's like, because the first time I was playing with somebody, I heard. "Arr!" And I'm like, oh, you live on a farm. I'm talking to the guy thinking it was like, he thought, no, 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 that's my head thing. I didn't realize that they create sounds. I didn't know that at first. I'm like, what's that noise I'm hearing? That's the gunslinger.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't wear those. The real pros don't wear those. No.
For a while, or at least prior to the FPS update, I wouldn't touch any of them because it brought lag into the game.
I guess that's true because it's
I wouldn't
more
touch
that
them.
has to process, the more.
Yeah.
Um,
At least on
what
the
about
Quest headset, it would anyway.
now? What do you use? So I bought the. I guess you did tell me that the longer or the racket, and you were telling me that it actually is a little bit longer and it affects your play, right? Because you can have two different kind of rackets. You can buy a racket, right? It's
Right.
the
Yeah.
gold one, and then the one that it comes with. And because I thought at first when I was playing, I was like, I feel like one's different than the other. I
It
just felt,
was.
and then you said it was actually different. One's a little longer or something, or
Yeah.
like,
So the other, I think there's one, two, three. There's four different avatars, four or five. I think it's four, and each one comes with its own racket, and each racket is, it's bigger, it's shorter, it's wider. They are all unique in their own way. So
and
after
something you can definitely tell or feel, I guess, when playing is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so after using, because remember, we all used the default avatars for years before the avatar update came out.
Right. Okay.
So after using the default racket for so many years, all of a sudden you transition to this new racket with a new shape. And then, it kind of messes with your accuracy a little bit because you're used to swinging a certain way to meet, the height and width of the racket. And
Right.
now it's changed all of a sudden. So much so to the point where the developers actually put out an option to change back to the default racket.
Right.
So, little history lesson for you guys out there listening. If you've ever noticed that default racket toggle in the game, that was birthed from the Avatar update.
What about there's the different balls too. The one ball that kind of has a fire behind it.
Fireball,
Does that change, do you think? Does that affect your gameplay at all? Like as far
that
as
doesn't, at least not me. That one didn't. I never used it because it brought lag into the game.
that's what I was
On the
saying.
Quest headset, it would anyway.
Yeah, that
That
makes
and the
sense.
digital trails, it would make the game kind of laggy. Yeah.
Right, because I was thinking about that too. It's like, yeah, it's probably yeah, the more it has
It's
to
fun to use in solo, right? When you're not up against an opponent, but when
right.
you're playing versus, there's
Well,
really
it's a
no.
little bit
So.
technically, I guess it's a little bit easier to tell which ball is if one's the fire and then one's normal. You can tell definitely know when it's my
Yeah,
turn.
it's night and day for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one other thing I wanted to say, and I can't remember when. Of course, I've forgotten. Probably be 3 in the morning going, I know what it was I was saying.
I
What was
think
I saying?
prior to the bug fixes, I think the biggest update we got prior to that was probably the Avatar update.
Right.
Yeah, the whole Avatar update package.
Yeah,
And
I'm surprised they don't do more, I guess, in-app purchases for skins and things like that. That's a way of generating income and stuff.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
all effort, right? I think we all know right now, the One Hamsa development team's really tied up with their new venture, Underdogs. Shout out to One Hamsa and shout out to Underdogs community out there, man. I'm not sure if you played that game yet,
no,
but
I haven't.
really, really good job over
What
there.
it how many people do you, well, how many people do you think play Racket? I mean, there's active users and then inactive users, I guess you would say. How many?
I think at one point in time when we were doing the WVG games, I think Victor had some data mining on that. The game kind of gets broken out between solo and multiplayer. So
Right,
if you look at the leaderboards on solo play, you're able to gauge about how many people play it because you can see their names and their entries on the leaderboard.
right.
Although we can't because we still don't have scroll bars on our leaderboards.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but the data is out there. So I think at one point in time that was known. And last I remember hearing, I think the solo player base is bigger than the versus player base.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. You know what'd be cool, we were talking about this, is maybe in the verses having a tier system because I think it is a little frustrating when you're a new
Oh yeah, that
player
was a
and you
good
see the
yeah,
same
yeah.
people
We
in
were
the
talking about that.
top
Yeah.
10. And it's like, so what you would do is you'd have like, let's say three tiers. And once you get to number one in that tier, then you get to graduate to the next tier and be in that group. And it gives
Promotions.
away that way it feels attainable because sometimes it can feel unattainable to see somebody that's a minute and 30 seconds and they're at like 6 minutes, and it's
I
like
have
it
that. I
feels
have that out there in the suggestion box. That's a big one. Yeah,
yeah.
for the future of the game and the
Yeah,
scalability of the game.
yeah.
It's a big
That's
one.
why I think the collaborating with the editor is great, because that will bring more community involvement. Plus, it's a great way of learning the game, just doing that editor.
Well, and it's common too, right? Any competitive sports game you see on the esports level, or even the more popular ones, they're all broken out in the tiers. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just
you're right. Yeah, you're
default.
diamond level or
Yeah,
platinum level, and
diamond, platinum,
yeah, yeah,
bronze. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, it's true. So that might be something they consider. I wonder. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they could also, like I said, do a sequel if they wanted to add, because these would be big updates to say, let's put in multi-ball. That might be a big update. So you could.
Yeah, it's all effort right now. Everything's
Hmm.
effort. There's only so many heads in the development team, and
How
everything's
many are in the
just
development
on
team?
underdogs right now.
How
So
many are in the development team? They're out of Tel Aviv, right?
I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, they're based out of Tel Aviv. I'm not sure if that's changed. Last I heard it was.
But I mean, you think it's something like 10 of them or five or 100? I mean, I don't
Sure, I
know.
really don't. I guess in theory, you could go into Discord and count the people that
Oh,
hold
yes,
the
yeah.
developer role in Discord,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that's all of them.
Right, right, right,
I'm
right.
not sure.
Yeah, no, it's I wish I knew how to be a developer. But I do voiceovers and I'm trying to get into video games. So here's my plug of if you need a voiceover actor, oh, that's what I wanted to say. I wish would be kind of cool to have what we call the more adult, honest voiceover for it. Instead of being like, that's great, they should be like, that sucked.
Uh,
Like, or what's up with that? You guys suck. I mean, just be at least more real. That would be kind of a cool little, instead of saying what the, say what, say finish it. Whatever I
right.
think he goes what the, but you know
I
yeah, that'd
think
be
they
kind of
actually. I think they did that in Underdogs. If
oh
I'm not
really
mistaken, I think Underdogs
well
is pretty adult rated. All right, man. Let's close it out. Let's move into roundtable, open discussion. Anything you want.
anything you want I wish I guess lately I'll be online waiting for somebody to come in. I do love the fact that you can still play while waiting for a versus or a co-op. That's cool. Some games don't do that. You have
It's
to kind
cool
of
until you're 1 second away from breaking a record and somebody breaks through with an invite.
well
It's
oh,
cool until that.
the worst is when I have mine set where it stops before I had it set where it just takes you out and joins you. You don't even say because you can have it set to either automatically join or
Yeah.
not. But you're right. It's like you're about to, and all of a sudden, then you're deciding like, okay, well, do I want? I'm far enough along. You know, I love
But
it
you
when you
still
go
you
to.
still burn time after the invite drops, even if you cancel it. You don't get the tractor beam back right away. So
Oh, really?
you still burn time, even if you
I
say no to it.
I think it's funny when you invite somebody, it goes invite, and then it's waiting, and then if it doesn't, it'll go like, well, and then do it again. It'll be like, fine. That's the answer. Like I was like, I thought that was funny.
Do not disturb. I
Yeah.
need it.
Uh,
Do
but
not
there
disturb.
must be a little bit of a, I guess I wish you could see who would be the only people you can see are people who you're friends with technically. You know what I'm saying?
Online
Like,
status, yeah.
and that's even a little bit glitchy because I'll try to invite somebody and won't do it
It
because
is.
it
It's been
means
weird
they
lately
used to
too.
be online, I guess, but they're
Yeah,
not technically. If you
yeah.
refresh, they'll be gone.
It'll tell me
Um,
you're in a multiplayer match, and you'll just not even be in a multiplayer match. Just
right.
and you,
It's
and it'll
almost
be
like you got to start the
30
game
minutes
over
from.
to
Yep.
refresh everything, and then that'll happen. Uh, but it would be kind of maybe cool to know a little bit like, oh, there's this many people. Um, and be able to, because I know I play this one sports game where they'll show you people who are waiting to play this one game is called VR Sports or whatever, and there's a lot of sports and billiards, archery. So I recommend it. So I play that a lot, but I can see who's looking for a game. Someone's waiting to play basketball, someone's waiting to play baseball, and then or you can play and other people can see that you're waiting to play this or whatever. So something like that be kind of cool just to you know have because I'm not playing as many. What's funny, I'm getting more team joins, meaning it used to be like if you select co-op and versus, if you select those two checks, it used to be like it was always like versus. Rarely did it someone looking for a team. In other words, I don't know what the algorithm is if both of us have versus and co-op selected. If there's one person, if they have theirs just selected for co-op, then they would pair us up. But if they both had co-op and versus, and I both have versus and co-op which one do they pick? I wonder how that works.
Not sure. Yeah, I don't know how that
Because
would
I
work.
used to get mostly in general versus, but now I've been getting a lot of team co-op
Yeah, I don't
before
know
I
how to
versus.
measure that one. That'd be a
Yeah,
good question for the developers.
yeah, and also they need to reset the season because I heard there were seasons, but I haven't since I played. I don't remember having my score reset for versus, but
Versus, yeah, yeah. It's been on a little bit of a delay. That's one area that really needs to be looked at really soon, and they know that too.
yeah.
Again, it's all effort at this point. So
So sometimes when I develop, one of the things I do when I develop for a monthly, maybe I should consider this for a monthly too, but is I put in sets that I would want to see out in the ether, I call it, because after, in case people don't know, once your monthly is done with, they take all your waves and they put it out into the rest of the world of racquetball. So it's nice to, so sometimes I set it up to go like, I want to see this out later on. I'll put in like a money thing. There's no need to put a money thing in a monthly, but I'll put it in there because hopefully then that will, be out in the ether, for example, of racquetball and gives you points.
make the
So
co-op runs a little bit easier.
yeah. In other words, yeah, well, because why would you put in a money thing for a monthly? It's not necessary, right? But I'll do it just because it'll get used later on, or even that's why I do a lot of power ups too. Sometimes it's like because even though they don't always keep, they're pretty good about keeping the power ups in the when it goes out, but that's not necessarily always there. But if I put a icebreaker on a particular wave, it tends to show up in the regular you know co-ops or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I know there's still a random chance. It's still a chance on that, but I don't know exactly what it is they're looking at for when to and when not to display a power up there.
So let's talk a little bit about the there's so what I try to tell people about the editor, and one of the things in case people don't know is when you submit um, a set, you have to be able to do the whole thing without any power-ups, meaning you have to be able to get through it. So if you can't get through it, then it's too hard. Um, but I wonder if there's like sometimes that's a thing of what is too hard. Like I had this one set It literally takes me 6 minutes to finish the one set or one wave, one wave, not set, one wave. But when you go to play and use the power ups, it takes 15 seconds, you know. But I wonder if is there like I'm working one set where I come in at about 3 minutes. So I know if I come in at 3 minutes, that's probably like 2:15, 2:20 for you. Like that's how I in my mind, that's how I figured it out. And so I'm wondering if there's like a certain how far do you think we can get with 10 waves where we can make it difficult enough but not, you know, too difficult, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's why we have the submission process.
Yeah.
You do your
And
best effort, and then it gets scouted. And
yeah, and I resubmit some things because sometimes there's things you want to fix or didn't get picked right away or and
yeah,
I usually just resubmit it. It's a you know but I guess not a lot of people have been doing that is I guess really or
yeah. I mean, the submissions are few and far between right
so
now.
everyone get going. That's a good way to get your name on the board too. Get a select
It is. Yeah,
and they'll either change things they may need to change themselves or they'll tell you like oh just do this or that you know I mean yeah I remember I did one and I think whoever does the changes he just changed put one wave over here and just and then accepted it because he actually said here he said here's this it was by me but if you want the original version he gave the number
right.
for the
Yeah,
original one it was just basically a wave was changed around or
yeah.
something
That's in the Discord post as well. Is
yeah
that you're set? If any modifications are needed, it can be done without your intervention.
Right,
So
right, 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 right. So yeah, because I got this one, I'm like, I really wanted to get in just because I want it to be into the eventually into the,
in the co-op world, yeah.
yeah,
All
you
right, man.
know.
Well, we got to
All
start
right,
wrapping up here.
all right.
This was great, great conversation.
Mm-hmm,
Let me just say
mm-hmm,
that you continue to be a really great part of the community, and keep it up, keep the sets
thank you.
coming, and we definitely could use more like yourself, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and it's been thank you for all your help too, because yeah, I've learned a lot from playing with you because you know you get better when you play with people who are better than you. This is how it is, you know. It's
Yeah,
like
sure. You learn a
you know,
lot.
yeah, you do, and that's the best way. And I try to when I get new people coming in, I try to you know teach them and tell them this is because I want them to be better players. You know, I want I like we want the competition.
I
We
want to
want
cultivate a healthy,
yeah
competitive community.
yeah, you want, plus I don't want to be annoyed when you don't do the things I think you should do when we're playing. When you get a new person and they just let the ball go right into the red, you're like, it's so you can tap and pull the ball back.
That's always
Or
fun.
like they hit the ice and they just break it right. Like, if you connect them all, you try to, that's funny,
All right. Well, thanks for taking time out of
Yeah,
your.
no problem.
I know it's the weekend, so
Uh,
appreciate
no
it.
problem.
I'm sure you're probably busy as it is, so
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Well, we'll play some racket maybe later. We'll see. I don't know how you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, we'll definitely be online later on tonight, I'm sure. So,
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. Cool.
all right,
Thank you
man.
very
Great
much.
chat. Thanks for
Have
coming
a good
on.
one. All right.